Alright, hey everyone, this is Vishal from Uncharted FX, and I want to speak about Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, can it go higher? And I believe that we will be seeing Bitcoin perhaps break this 11,000 level and go higher. And why is that? There is one chart that you really need to watch when trading Bitcoin. So first, let's talk about what we're seeing here on the charts. This is the 4-hour chart. You can see a very nice flip zone here that's been support and resistance. We came back to test it, big wick here, but you can see here, this is the level that I've been watching. We created a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here, which, basically all a head and shoulder shows us is it shows us a shift in trends from lower highs to higher lows. Nice strong break here, and this is what we look for. And price has been moving up, and now there's another flip zone here around the 11,000 level. This week has been very crazy with the Federal Reserve cutting rates, but it was still a hawkish rate cut where Jerome Powell didn't really say, if this is a one and done. He sort of alluded to a one and done, but I believe if you follow my work that they are going to cut much more. And what they're trying to do now is they need to maintain confidence in the system and themselves, and what they're trying to do is, again, as I said, maintain confidence and save face, really. So I think it was interesting that the day after the rate decision, President Trump came out saying he's going to implement more tariffs on China, which brought the markets down. So this way the Federal Reserve now has a way to save face or maintain confidence in the system by saying, hey, look, our policies were doing right, doing well. We cut once because of a mid-cycle adjustment, and then this happened with the president, and now we have to start cutting rates because of the craziness and volatility in the markets. So it's a way to save face. They are going to cut. Central banks are out of options. If you follow my blog posts and my work, I approach it with a classical economics / history outlook, and cycles repeat themselves. And just look at QE. They stopped QT, by the way, so it opens the door to perhaps QE in the future. And again, people will realize that this is the norm. Quantitative easing will be the norm, where central banks will basically be the buyers of last resort. And this is why you may see so let's look at the precious metals, but you might see gold go higher, still testing this resistance zone here. And I think silver. So I think the precious metals are very bullish for the future. And a lot of people talk about Bitcoin. Will Bitcoin be following precious metals as a safe haven type asset? So I want to talk about why I think Bitcoin is going higher. But before I talk about that, people have to understand that Bitcoin is mostly to do with China. What a lot of the Bitcoin, hardcore Bitcoin traders don't really tell people is that the move from the very lows, the big boom here up to like about 20k, it was all to do with China. What happened is, in China, you need government permission to open a trading account, and they do not allow you to day trade the Chinese markets or even the American. So essentially, unless you have government permission, which can take some time, and again, you're not really day trading there. However, cryptocurrencies came along, and since cryptos are decentralized, the regular Chinese retail trader, the middle class, they were allowed to open a trading account. They didn't need government approval because it's decentralized. And, if you look at reports, somewhere between 80 to 90% of this volume was Chinese money. And, this is what happened. Huge boom because Chinese traders could finally trade. And what happened was, a lot of the Western traders and people who wanted to jump into this FOMO, the fear of missing out, they jumped into a lot of the altcoins. And we'll talk about altcoins quickly at the end here. But I just want to talk about what China did. Is the government basically banned Bitcoin trading. And a lot of the average Joes, they're afraid of the government, right? So even if the Americans or Canadians say the same thing, I don't think a lot of average Joe people are going to be holding cryptos. They'll probably sell them because they're afraid of government, punishment or whatever. So this is what happened. And we're at a point now where, if you look at what's happening in China, they have a big debt issue. So there are problems all around the world. China's not exempt from it. And what we're seeing now is we're seeing China sort of encroach on Hong Kong. So Hong Kong has always been a way to sort of get money out of China. You know, you buy real estate in Hong Kong, then you could sell it, and since it's British law, you can then use that money to go to Australia, Canada, wherever. And it's the British law which is the most important thing, right? Mainland China has their own sort of communist, you know, authoritarian type laws, right? And Hong Kong still maintains British law, and that's what they're fighting for, really, to maintain that rather than succumb to mainland Chinese pressure. And I've spoken about why China is like going hard on Hong Kong recently. You know, it is partly due to the trade war. They can ship goods out through Hong Kong to avoid tariffs, and also a way to stop money flows from leaving China. So this is where Bitcoin comes into play now. Bitcoin is still now the only way really to actually get money out of China through digital wallets, right? And this is why Bitcoin, I believe, is going higher, and a lot of the other altcoins, you know, Ripple, Litecoin, Ethereum, why they're all lagging, Stellar, Golem. So we'll talk about why these are lagging and why they can't go up. But you realize Bitcoin is outperforming all of them, and it's specifically because Chinese money is putting money into Bitcoin to get money out of the country. Technically, they can use Ethereum and Litecoin, but Bitcoin is still the best for managing and moving large amounts of money. You're not going to be putting money into Ripple or Stellar or these smaller coins because the volume, you know, it'll just move the price too much. So Bitcoin is still the preferred way. And you need to realize there's another group that uses Bitcoin in China, and that is the Communist Chinese Party. Ironically, they've been using Bitcoin as a way to hedge when the yuan, so their currency, the Chinese yuan or renminbi, when it gets devalued. Kyle Bass speaks a lot about this, and we're at a point here where I want you to watch this chart. So this one chart here, the US dollar versus the Chinese yuan, is the one chart you have to watch if you are a Bitcoin investor, speculator, trader, whatever. And this is the level, and this is the near all-time highs, really around, let's call it the seven zone, right? The $7 zone here. And the People's Bank wants to maintain this level here, and you can see here once we had that big Bitcoin break as well, on the head and shoulders we had this very large green candle as well on the US Chinese yuan simultaneously. So this is a chart you need to watch. I've spoken about this on my blog post before. Once you see this 7 level break and held and, you know, get some momentum, we will see Bitcoin rocket because the yuan is devaluing. And again, as Kyle Bass has said, a lot of Chinese money, especially the Communist Party themselves, have been, or the Communist Party elites, have been putting money into Bitcoin whenever the yuan gets devalued. So if we see a nice strong break here, which means that the yuan is depreciating, expect Bitcoin to go up much, much higher. As I said, again, this is mostly due to China, and this is that one chart you have to watch. Very exciting times right now for the crypto market, for Bitcoin especially, because we are seeing a very, very strong move here. So let's see if this week continues, and if that continues, we'll see a move much higher here on Bitcoin. And again, you know, that will give us enough momentum to push past 11,000 here. So let's watch that US Chinese yuan chart. That is the one chart that you must be watching. So again, all these other cryptos are pretty much lagging. And as I've outlined, it's because Bitcoin is still used to move money out of China. So this is why Bitcoin receives the volume and everything else lags. So what can make all these other coins in the crypto market basically start booming? What will cause another bull run in altcoins? And I don't think it's anything to do with seasonality or anything, but where we are in the world right now, you know, a confidence crisis is approaching, and I've said gold and silver will probably do well. So there is that one idea where once fiat money and soft money starts to weaken, because everyone realizes that governments will be lowering rates, will be printing more money, QE, so they'll be devaluing the currency much, much more. And maybe run out of fiat into cryptos is something that might be seen as a way to, you know, as a way to manage risk, be a safe haven. So that's yet to be seen. However, let's see what happens. So that's one theory. However, I think the way cryptos will actually fundamentally move higher, and I'm talking about the altcoins especially, are two things. Number one is we require institutional traders or investors and banks to trade these cryptos, and the only way they would trade these cryptos is if regulations get applied. I know a lot of people do not want to hear that because the hardcore crypto guys love this market because it is decentralized, but once regulations come on, you have Wall Street in it, you have government and banks all involved, and it will lose its that whole concept of it being decentralized. But once regulations are applied on cryptos, this means that banks and big money will be able to jump into cryptos because now they have assurance of deposits. Right now, if you're a hedge fund manager, if you're an individual that's wealthy, running your own fund, yeah, sure, you can jump to Bitcoin. But if you're an institutional fund, a big hedge fund, you can't justify to your fund participants that, oh yeah, by the way, I'm jumping into cryptos here, and sorry, yeah, I know that a whole bunch of exchanges have shut down and there's a possibility of us losing all our money. So you just can't justify that right now. However, once regulations are in or up, you can then be putting money in here because there is a guarantee of your deposit. And second, which is probably more important, and that will come when a move higher happens, is these altcoins need to attract new buyers. Again, with this big move in Bitcoin back in the day, up to 20,000, what happened is a lot of the average Joes, first-time traders, wanted to jump in and get some of this yield. And come on, we all know this. It was a big FOMO, big mad rush, big mania. And what happened is all these people jumped into a lot of the altcoins because they were trying to make yield because they felt they missed out on the Bitcoin markets. And then what happened? A lot of these guys are still bag holding a lot of these altcoins. This is why there'll always be a constant selling pressure because a lot of these guys now just want to either break even and get out. So as prices move up, they'll want to take their profits just to get out, break even, as I said. So this is a challenge. You have to attract new buyers into the altcoins, and going forward, again, if we see regulations, that will definitely bring big money involved. And once we see these things move again, maybe the average Joe and the retail crowd will come back in. And again, perhaps if we see that run into safe havens where cryptos are treated as a safe haven because they're not fiat. Again, we can debate all day here about whether cryptos are safe havens or not, but it comes down to the fact that if it's anything else besides the US dollar, Canadian dollar, any fiat currency, people will probably run into it. So you could probably see a run or a jump in altcoins as well. So we'll have to wait and see. We are in crazy times right now with the Fed cutting rates, and if you follow my work, I've already been predicting this since the beginning of the year and what's happening next. So buckle up. Will be a very volatile year and very volatile markets. So again, that's what I want to talk about Bitcoin. Can we get a further break higher and move much higher? And the chart you need to watch is the US dollar Chinese yuan chart here. A very important level here. Let's see if the People's Bank will hold this level or if it will break, and you'll see a lot more Chinese money running into Bitcoin. So thanks for your time. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you like the content that I post, please follow me if you haven't already. Thank you.